Hello, friends. Welcome to Talking with Fast People. I'm your host, Eric. Today's video is titled R.I.P. Sean Connery. He died a few days ago, but I haven't gotten around to talking about it until right now. One thing that makes me want to talk about it at all is that he had dementia, like my mom. Now, there's a picture of him in 2017 attending a tennis match, looking perfectly normal and healthy. 2020, at age 90, he's dead of dementia. So the thing is, 3 years ago, my mom could still almost fake it. Like, you couldn't necessarily tell she had dementia 3 years ago. I mean, you could if you knew her at all, but like I said, she could almost fake it. A year ago, Mom more or less lost the ability to walk. It was right around a year ago. The reason I bring it up at all, of course, is when you have a loved one who's in a home with dementia, there is a reality there that's rather harsh, but nevertheless the case, which is she's there to die. She's there to die in a fashion that requires the least amount of direct effort on the part of her family to care for her. It's a harsh truth, but it's the truth. You know, Mom was here until a little less than a year ago. And, about a year ago, it became extremely challenging for my dad and I remember Rachel was here too, to care for my mom. So whenever I read about people dying of dementia or related complications or whatever you actually die of when you have dementia, I don't know, I try to think about the timetable. Like, okay, well, Sean Connery 3 years ago was watching a tennis match, at least appearing more or less normal, able to do normal things. And then within 3 years, he's dead. Apparently, the last several months of his life, he was in full blast dementia mode, like my mom. What's interesting is we put my mom into the home last January, and I haven't really seen a lot of change in her since. And what I mean by that is, I just went and took her for a walk yesterday. She's not much diminished from where she was when we took her to the home. Now, granted, hello, Lauren McGinley. This live stream, hello, MC McPhee. This live stream is in honor of your countrymate, Sean Connery, famously devoted to being a Scot and thought the Scottish should be independent of English people. Well, of course, it should be noted that for all his pro-Scottish bluster, he actually lived in the Bahamas. So take that for what you will, but he kept that Scottish accent all the way to the end. I guess it served him well. I have to pour myself a new cup of coffee here, heat it up a little bit. So please afford me a slight amount of your patience, if you will. The thing is, Sean Connery was a great actor. Like, consistently voted the best Bond, but not just Bond. He sort of grabbed your attention and captivated you no matter what he was in, whatever role he was playing. His last movie he made was at age 73, 17 years before he died. But yeah, the thing about it that mostly makes me want to talk about him, though I've seen him in movies my whole life, and it makes me feel that sort of sense of ontological terror that this guy who, when I was a little kid, was still in leading man age, is now dead of dementia at age 90. Makes you feel like you're old, Most importantly, what I'm getting at with all this is when you have a loved one with dementia, like my mom has it, and her quality of life is as good as it can get given the circumstances, and yet she can't go to the bathroom herself. I think it's likely they have to assist her in feeding herself. She can say words sometimes, but she doesn't ever mean anything that's very coherent. What ends up happening is, whether they want to say it or not, everybody in the family is basically waiting for her to die. Like, the family's kind of held hostage in a way, or they pay a shit ton of money to not be held hostage. My mom cost my family, my dad specifically, but I'm next in line in the family, so it cost my dad $100,000 a year. Put my mom in there. Maybe, it probably cost my dad $70,000 a year. He's got some long-term care insurance that covers some of the rest, but because it literally costs like $120,000 a year. It's over $10,000 a month to take care of my mom for 24/7. Kind of understandable. Like, I get it. If you were to hire enough employees to go do that full time just for my mom, you'd probably have to hire at least 3 people at $40,000 a year or something. So there you go. And that wouldn't include housing and board and stuff, which her current situation does. So it's not like we're being robbed. It's understandable that it's expensive. It's not easy work, and it's not fun work. But yeah, when your loved one gets dementia, you reach a certain point where the truth is you just want them to die soon and get it done with. It's like, in some sense, I'm my emotions are getting the better of me. In some sense, I'm Eric, you need to get your shit together and stop being a fucking crybaby. Okay? There's no excuses for being a big crybaby over this. It's not a big deal. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I'm kind of looking forward to my mom's funeral. Because at least then she can go back to being regular mom. Yes, she'll be dead, but she won't be this weird, decrepit remnant of a creature. I mean, here's the thing. I don't really think my mom's suffering, per se. I don't think she's actively suffering, but it's no life worth living, obviously. She does that all the time, It's like, can't talk to her. She makes no sense. She can't express herself. I guess this is a delayed emotional reaction from yesterday. Went out yesterday, took her for a walk, came back. There was no unnecessary moisture involved in the whole thing, But the fact is, I guess my FI doesn't like it. Seeing mom like that. Of course, FI is completely irrational, so, and it doesn't make any sense to cry about it now. Not going to do any good. But you know how that introverted feeling is. Hi, Octavia. Oh, where you been, Octavia? So I forgot. I was supposed to text you to make sure you were alive. Winston's mom told me to check on you because she was worried. And I said to her, okay, I'll text her. And I didn't. I guess I wasn't that worried. You're on vacation? Where are you vacationing? In the beautiful land of Mexico? Are you in Cancun? Or perhaps you visited Puerto Rico, the land of grapefruit flavor. Or maybe you're visiting the continent of Africa exotic, filled with jungles and tigers. Your hometown. That's not vacation. You know, I had this experience with my friend Matt, actually, Mateo Katsu. I've always thought of him as being a textbook INTP. But then one evening he came around the stream. He was, he has a bit of a drinking problem. So he was drunk, and I said, "Hey Matt, let's chat in the room," because of anybody I know who has whatever kind of problem with whatever drugs, it doesn't impact my wanting to see Matt at all. I have a great deal of affection and respect for Matt. And I don't see him very often, I don't talk to him very often. When he leaves a comment on one of my videos, especially a song or something, says, "I really like this one," that is something I go, "Ooh, that's praise I really take to the bank." And when he says he doesn't like something or it's not good, I take him at his word. I more or less will defer to his judgment. That's how much I respect the guy, So anyway, I gave him some. Granted, he was rather drunk, but I gave him a bunch of TI questions. I'm not sure if he was like fucking around to not get them right, or if he really did have. He might be an INFP. He's definitely NE, but I think now he's an INFP. Actually, it's like his TI is not dominant, but he's clearly NE, and he's clearly an introvert, and INFP makes sense. Although, I mean, I'd like to retest his TI because it's possible he was fucking around. Not if they're front stack, not if they're dominant, for sure. No, it's not possible. Yeah, that's an FI thing, Octavio. It's why what's an interesting question that I asked the other day that gave not just the person I typed fits, but I think a fair amount of the audience too. That's this like super easy question, but I guess because of the way it's set up, it confuses people, which is two firecrackers are equal to 6 lollipops, and there are 6 lollipops in one bucket. How many firecrackers are there in one bucket? I'll repeat. 2 firecrackers. Yes, 2, right. Obviously. Yes, it's A equals B equals C. So how many A's or C's? Well, yeah, A equals C. But the ENFJ I typed, and his video is up there if you were so inclined to watch it. But if not, then I'll just tell you about it. He struggled mightily with that question. He spent a long time thinking about it, repeating it, etc. That's 4th slot TI. And that's also 2nd slot NI. But Octavius, yeah. So that's the 4th slot TI. It's very straightforward. But there's another kind of new TI question I asked too, which was, oh yeah, the tomatoes freeze question. which is blah, blah, blah. Right. 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 Putting things in my ears makes me say right. Oh yeah, the TI question, the freezes tomatoes diet question. So this is the question. If it freezes, the tomatoes will die. There are two statements comprising that sentence. It freezes and the tomatoes die. Each of those statements can have a value of either true or false. So you can have true, both statements being true. It freezes, the tomatoes die. True, false. First statement being true, second statement being false. False, true, the first statement being false, the second statement being true. Or false, false, both statements being false. Only one of those four permutations makes the sentence as a whole false. Which one is it? The nice thing about this question is most people will want me to repeat it. And most, I can go as far as say most again instead of many. Yeah, Octavia Silva, correct. Now, keep in mind, Octavia Silva, that I've determined of all the skills tests, the one that I used to think was the most reliable, TI, is actually the least reliable of the three. TI, SI, NE, and the NE and SI tests are more reliable fundamentally than the TI tests. And the reason is partially indicated by your presence here and your way you're answering these questions. You spend a lot of time around here, Octavia Silva, and you've heard a lot of examples of TI questions, and you are interested in understanding how they work and what they mean and stuff, in part so that you can do things like ask your dad questions like these. So I can guarantee you, regardless of anything else, Octavia Silva, that your TI, your ability to answer these questions, let's put it that way. That's the thing. It's not your attentional manner. It's just a skill that correlates very strongly with it. Your ability to answer these questions is much better than it used to be for you, if nothing else. We can say that you've learned a lot here. And so that's one way. We also know that TI is, unfortunately, not the strongest of the skills tests. And that also has to do with the fact that even if SI and NE can be equivalently learned in the same way that you've learned TI, or not TI itself, but the TI questions, people are much less likely to be asked to do NE or SI in testing. So people are fairly likely to be tested on deductive reasoning problems and stuff, either on the SAT or on the MIA. They're likely to encounter them at some point. They might learn some strategies for them, and continuing exposure to them gets them better and better at them, because it's very conducive stuff to have a strategy towards, to ask questions about, right? For things to be standardized in some sense, that you get the idea of the form and it repeats again and again. NE is fundamentally new every time. You can get the idea of the form, but I'm not going to ask you about the same invention that I asked about before. So today's invention is a brand new invention. It's not the same as the invention that I offered to this other person before. Sometimes I'll repeat an invention if I really like it. I really was fond of, good morning, Running Fox. I was really fond of, as far as inventions go, the idea of a male one-piece bathing suit that's both for a man who wants to be modest up top, doesn't feel any need to be modest down below, and that the marketing department is in charge of of managing to sell this one piece as manly, you know. So I've repeated that once. I've given that to a couple different people, but generally I don't repeat inventions, and certainly I don't repeat like the poem things or the story prompts or whatever. The questions that are purportedly any inform. I've completed the type policing. I just need to edit the video. Your instincts are correct, Running Fox. I'm going back and forth as to what exactly she is, though. I actually think, and I know I'm going to get fucking just beat up for this because people are going to say, no, she's not. She can't possibly be or whatever. I think she's an INTP. That's what I think. I like her too. That's the weird thing is I think she makes good content. I don't think she knows anything about INTJs, obviously, but like her content about making money on the internet, that video, that has to be the most INTP version of a TE how to be successful video I've ever seen. It is so not helpful at all, and yet also correct the whole time. So, I mean, that's kind of textbook INTP. Very correct and totally unhelpful. Can any fourth kind of present like polar? Well, in a typing session situation, yes, because people any fourth people don't like being put on the spot and tested on their any. So in that sense, kind of, yes. But if you've ever been here when Cameron's here, you know that Cameron is not any polar. He will talk and talk and talk. And a lot of times it's about stuff that maybe, you know, I don't think is that interesting. Like maybe he'll talk about scooters or his, you know, just like how he got the scooter from, like, okay, to be more exemplifying, like he got the scooter from, the guy got a really good deal on it because it's supposed to be the most badass scooter in the world. But when he actually got it, and he thought he was going to just have to replace this one part and then resell it to make a bunch of money on it, which he usually does. Like this is a consistent thing. It's how he makes money in part. So surely, indeed, he will talk at some length at it, and he's quite disappointed in the way this one has turned out. The some part of it that he needed to fix turned out to be bigger than he thought, and in addition, he's less pleased with the components of it than he anticipated being, and he referred to it even as a piece of shit. And so I heard, you know, I got to hear a fair amount about that scooter, and I like when Cameron talks. When Cameron comes over here, it's a chance for me to take a break from being the talker. And like when Cameron and Rachel and I go on a bike ride, which we did, we rode down to the pharmacy to get Rachel's medication and back. It's mostly Rachel mostly listening to Cameron, and those two are engaging with each other, and I'm just sort of enjoying being around that engagement. What in the world? Wow. I have 53 people here right now? 58 people right here right now? What? What happened? It was a slow starting stream. I had like 6 people here for a while. So yes, I have done that video, but I mean, I know it's like they're not chatting. Can any of these 64 people please chat so we believe that you actually exist? $73. R.I.P. Sean Connery, indeed. As I was indicating before, I was driven by reading about Sean Connery's death to start live streaming primarily because my own mother has dementia, and it really drove home the thoughts about her being in a home and what that means, and how 82 that cannot possibly be right. There are not 82 people here. It's me, Octavia Silva, and Running Fox, as far as I can tell. Legends Fall, maybe 92 people. That's not right. That cannot possibly be correct. If there were 92 people here, there would be a lot more people chatting, right? Unless, I don't know who else those people would be. So if any of you purportedly 97 people are actually here, just you with 90 alt accounts, I'm assuming that's a joke, but I don't know. I don't know why it says there's 100 people in my live stream. I've never gotten to 100 people before. There are clearly not 100 people here because there's not 100 people in the chat. I do find it very exciting anyway, even though it's clearly some sort of bug, but it looks neato. I kind of want to, I just don't really need to take a picture of because it show up on the screen. Oh, now it's down to 99. Oh no, I lost one. Oh no, I lost 3 more. Oh no, don't go away. Don't go away, 100 people. Stay here. There are not 100 people here. It's some sort of bug. There's no way. It's like you have to look. There's got to be some sort of thing where if you have 100 people, you're going to have a minimum of X amount of chat, right? Or else, if I've seen 100 people in a, oh, you did, thank you. I started recording actually on this end so I could see 103 people, right? I don't see anybody's name I don't recognize. I don't see a single person's name I don't recognize. And there's supposedly 104 people here. If you are here and you are somebody whose name I would not recognize, please chat something so I can have some sense that this is not just completely nonsense. Hi, Rusmus. Yeah, I wouldn't put a lot of faith into that 104 number. Hi, Jordan Games. Well, there's a name I don't recognize. That's one. Okay, there's one of those people, presumably. So, I'm flustered by the statistics anomaly. Okay, you know what? I would really love it if all 101 of you were to thumbs up. That would be amazing. If we could get more than 10 thumbs up, it would be conceivably plausible that maybe this number is not completely unrelated to reality. But I just don't buy it because I've seen one name that I don't recognize here, Jordan Games. And greetings and welcome. Please we're bringing out for you our finest feast and the hottest of the serving winches to encourage you to stay as well. This is a gift for me. You're happy? It certainly is something. It's like if there were actually 105 people though, why wouldn't anybody but Jordan Games be saying anything? Somebody's gaming something somehow. I don't know. To my benefit or detriment, I don't know either. There's 4 likes. I asked explicitly that if in fact there are 100 people here, please, I would be eternally grateful if you would push that thumbs up so that I could prove that there are more people here than the normal people. But that's not accomplished anything. So it's tending to validate my alternative hypothesis that that's not happening. That's not actually happening. Anyhow, let's segue away from death, from Sean Connery, from the dementia that my mother suffers from, and talk instead about another matter, something more cheerful, something that will raise our spirits so that we can all prepare ourselves for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday, which will be followed shortly thereafter by, of course, the Christmas holiday. And if you live in Canada, immediately thereafter by Boxing Day. So in order to prepare for this holiday season, let's discuss something of a positive nature. Legends Falls roommates upstairs were blasting metal at 7:30 this morning. Well, that's one way to meet the new day, to greet the new day, to say, hey, I'm here. I'm playing 2 bass drums at the same time. I've got double kick going on. And I'm writing the crash symbol as though it were a hi-hat. So, how can you tell the difference between ISTJ and ISFP? It can be quite a challenging one to tell the difference between, because they do have the same, TEFI, and their NE is similarly weak, but the difference is, and I guess ISTJ can show some good NI, because in the 8th slot you can bust that shit out occasionally with some things that demonstrate well. You're not going to really use it in your own life at all, but nevertheless, you can use it well enough. So it can be challenging. And the thing is, of course, the SE is going to look similar in the 2 and 6 in ISTJs and the ISFPs. I would say that the best way to do it would be to hammer the NE and hammer the SI. The SI of the ISTJ is going to sound much more like somebody who's in love with SI, whereas the SI in the ISFP is going to sound much more like, oh, okay, you need justifications. Here are some examples. Can you please advise on how I raise my spiritual frequently? Lately, your root chakra has been having some auric difficulties. Okay, simple solution there, Bill Burkett. Real simple solution. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to spin a spiritual chrysalis from the silk that you get after you chew up some leaves, okay? Once you spin that spiritual chrysalis, you're going to hang yourself upside down in the closet for a period of 2 weeks. When you emerge from the spiritual chrysalis, your root chakra should have turned into a full-grown potato, and your auric difficulties will have all cleared up. Your spiritual frequency will be set exactly at 440 from this point forward. That's standard A. And you'll never see anything but unicorns ever again. The SE is usually pretty apparent with ISFPs. I mean, they don't self-report it very well. If you ask ISFPs stuff that you might think would be good SE questions, they'll often self-report as being like INTPs or INFPs and having trouble getting shit done, being procrastinating. Yeah, it should work. And, if you do complete that and you return for a small processing fee, plus, the initial, obviously, registration fee, we can move you up to an orange belt in spirituality. I do award degrees in spiritual development. Most people here are white belts still, or yellow belts. It goes white, yellow, maroon, teal, puce, mauve, orange. So orange is pretty high up. It's still like 17 colors from black, which is the best, but Running Fox is an orange belt already. That's true. But she's been in the class now for quite a while. And, it's not like I take it easy on her just because she's from around here. I treat her like all the other students. She gets beat with a club too, just like everybody else. Daniel Craig's my favorite Bond too. I actually agree with that. The recent Bond movies were the best Bond movies, in my opinion. Why was Prince so bad at TI questions with 4-slot TI? Okay, Garrett Hurt, that's a good question and a fair challenge, like in the sense that, Eric, you said nobody should have 2 polars. And his 4-slot TI was so weak that it would qualify as polar. That would seem to invalidate your thing. I still don't think that qualifies as polar. And the reason is because he was terrible at it, but the way he tried to approach it was showed me that he implicitly understood what TI was supposed to do, that he got the concept of using logical processing to deduce an answer, but at the same time, He was just incredibly bad at it. Whereas ESFPs will like for example, he's not gonna, if I say all pigs oink, Porky oinks, therefore Porky's a pig. He's not going to immediately go, well, of course, Porky's a pig, because Porky's a pig. That's more like polar. He's going to go, okay, let me, so wait, okay. That's more like fourth slot. Now, granted, it was quite weak for fourth slot, but, there is a range for fourth slot. Like Megan Lavota's fourth slot TI is much better than Prince's fourth slot TI. But I don't know if anybody remembers the typing session from first. It's one of the few typing sessions are remembered pretty well compared to most anyway. And I asked her a pretty straightforward TI question, and she was like, okay, let's see. So, my mother's sister's son. My mother's sister's aunt. What's my aunt's son? Cousin? I was like, yep. She's just beaming with pride, But of course, for somebody who's TI first or second, if you say, who's your mother's sister's son in relation to you, they'll go, your cousin. They're not going to have to think about it and process it. That guy was doing that, getting ready to do something very difficult thing, which Polar doesn't get. Polar doesn't understand the thing well enough to treat it with that attitude. But again, as I've indicated, I do think the TI test requires more interpretation. In other words, more discretionary, molding, kneading, than do the NE or SI tests when it comes to the polar. When it comes to the skills tests, which correlate quite strongly with their respective functions, TI is more gameable and more learnable, and as a consequence, it's less reliable. This, I think, is a good TI question. I think the one being asked, it is an EXFJ. If I put that in a tab and play it, am I going to have copyright problems? Because, last night, your mom's face sent me a link, and she rickrolled me. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. I'm going to send you that song by that guy with the red hair. But Octavio's mom's face, will you stop? Will you just stop for once? Will you please? I've had enough, I said to her. And then I says,
3 guys walk into a restaurant. Their bill comes out to you. $26. They each pay $10 each, so they get $30. It's a little bit of math you can handle. So the waiter takes the $30, and it's $4 worth of change, right? So she gives her $4 back. There's $4, and I'm going to keep one for myself as the waiter, and then each guy is going to get $1 back.
Wait, the bill is $26.
That's right.
They each gave the waitress $10.
Yes.
So that's $30.
Right, there it is. There's $30.
I just want to make sure we're clear.
Okay, I take the $30. You get $26 into the register.
Does it matter what they ate or like what they spent on their meal? It's just total. The bill was $26.
They're splitting it. So one guy might have just got a water, but he's willing to.
So that's $10. That is split evenly.
Exactly. Split evenly. Okay. So you ready?
Yeah.
So there's $4 left, right? After you put the 30 in. I'm going to take one for myself for the tip.
You're the waiter. You take $1 tip. That's a crappy tip.
I know. I'm just generous today. I took it before you even asked, so we'll just go with it. All right. And so each guy gets $1 back, right?
If you have $4, you give one to the waiter.
Yep.
Person with
This girl's driving me crazy. I want him to get to the point of this question, and she is just making him repeat everything a million times.
Yes.
Yeah, that seems like 4-slot TI right there. Okay. How much did they each pay? $9. Oh, this poor girl.
That's 27.
Here's the
They
28.
each got $1.
No, that's what they paid. They paid $9 each, and I.
Did she not get this? Did she not get what's going on here with this trick? Does everybody understand this math thing? 3 guys go into a restaurant. They each pay. The total bill comes out to $26. So they get $4 back in change. But the waiter gets $1 for $1 for a tip. So now they each get $1 back. How much did they each pay? $9. Okay, so if they each paid $9, then they paid $27, right? Yes. And then I'm the waiter. I have 1. That's 28. Yes. Where did the extra $1 come from? That adds up to 31. Well, the extra $1 come from because you arbitrarily added it back in after we'd already accounted for it in the initial $9 split. That $9 split includes each of the 33.333 cents that the 3 people paid to make up the $1 of your tip. So in other words, $27 accounts for the entire bill plus your tip. So there's no missing $1 or extra $1 or whatever. For some reason, it really was frustrating me that he couldn't even get to the interesting part of the question because she kept making him repeat things. That's totally 4-slot TI. Eric, experiment for you. Title the next stream, Rip Cloud, please. That's not a bad idea. I could, and we'll see how that goes. Everybody talk about cloud. How about that? I'll title it, Everybody Talk About Cloud. I want to know what the hell was going on with these numbers. At no point, I guarantee you, at no point were there ever 100 people here today. It is not the case that there were ever 100 people here today. If it were the case that people were coming in because Sean Connery is famous, then it would be an ongoing infusion of people and people coming and going and coming and going and coming and going, and there'd be a lot of people continuing here. Instead, this could not possibly be because, it started out slow. We had like 6 people here for a while, 7, went back to 6, 8, 7, went to like 10. It was normal numbers. And then all of a sudden it started going up, like in shocking quickness until it got to 100. But when I tried to engage with any of those purported 100 people, like okay, please push the thumbs up if you are here, if you're actually here so I can believe that you're here. Nothing, no response. Some of those 100 people would have responded to it. So it can't possibly be real people who were here. 22 is a plausible number. There might be 22 people here. Oh, cloud. You wanted to say RIP cloud. Okay, if you wanted to say RIP cloud, then you need it to be all capitalized. Hi, Stephen Brooks. Here's my friend Stephen Brooks. He's from Northern California. Debate coach. And INFJ, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Grass Eater thinks that it's because Sean Connery is a trending topic, and whenever there's a live stream, it comes up first among the search results. Trust me, same thing with Among Us. I thought we had a community member named Sean Connery. No. I don't think that's it. I don't believe it, because if in fact there were at any point actually 100 people here, even if I weren't talking about Sean Connery, some of them would have commented, responded to my prompts, or anything like that. I've been watching old celebrity SNLs too, Stephen Brooks. Maybe that's why this popped up in your feed. Maybe it has some sort of link like that. Right, 13 people now. That's more realistic for a Saturday morning at 9 a.m. So I am quite certain that that was not representative of anything real. Ever seen that clip? I haven't seen the clip, but I read about it today when I was reading about his death. Goodbye, Running Fox. And my thoughts on it are the way he put it, namely that, he had a lot of qualifiers in there. It didn't offend me. He basically said, given a number of conditions met first, I don't know. He's old. It's old fashioned. The thing is, I would never slap a woman. Like it seems absolutely ridiculous to me, frankly, to even consider the circumstance where somebody would be so cinematic in their response. How dare you slap? It just seems insane. But I don't know. It just didn't offend me. It's like Sean Connery has it right. Put it this way. I do believe that saying something like, well, if she keeps on, like I had to explain this to, I guess it was Melinda, but I've had to explain to a couple of girls who thought that it was okay for them to hit me, right? Like, they'd get mad and they'd like, and it would hurt. I say, okay, you need to not ever do that again. And if you continue doing it, at some point, I won't use words to tell you not to anymore. I'll lay you the fuck out. And then they didn't ever hit me anymore. So, I mean, does that make me a bad person? No, I didn't want to be hit. Well, that's the thing. I don't take a double standard, but no, Grass Eater, that Octavia Silva, I'm assuming you are joking, but the funny thing is there was a Lincoln Douglas topic a few years back that said repeated victims of domestic violence are justified in using deadly force against their abusers. Bill Burkett, I want to say that's not a bad criterion. And on that criterion, I would have to say, yeah, I got to use the slip and slide enough. I slipped a lot. I slid a lot. We had it on the front yard frequently. I was in a neighborhood with same-age children who also enjoyed both slipping and sliding. And so on that metric, yes, I have attained life fulfillment. I attained it at a young age with my ample abundance of slippage and slidage. So the thing is, you know, girls will only hit you if you give it your tacit consent, or even worse, your formal consent. They say if you don't stop it, or if you encourage it in some way, like you go, that doesn't hurt. Fuck that. I mean, no. Probably it does. It does hurt, probably, because I don't have a lot of padding. Like, I don't have a lot of chub to help protect my bones. Does that mean that medieval peasants had unfulfilling lives due to a lack of access to slip and slides? Yes, it does. Yes. I mean, the Age of Enlightenment began with the invention of the slip and slide. That's why they call it the Age of Enlightenment. I think it was Voltaire who initiated the first slip, and possibly Locke or Hobbes, one of those two, who followed it up with a good slide. No, Jesus died so that we could invent chutes and ladders. Slip and slides is a later incarnation. Okay. Voltaire was probably an ENTP. Definitely not an ENFP, I don't think. Actually, I haven't really read him, but, you know. They did too. Back in the Middle Ages, they did have condoms. They did. It's just they made them out of lamb's skin. If they ran out of lambskin, they would simply wrap the penis in a paper bag. As best they could do. No. You got this wrong. Jesus died so we could come up with chutes and ladders. Muhammad prophesized both the game Sorry and the game Twister. But we also misprophesized a couple of things. Hi, Tiffany. Thanks. You're special. You're a special lady. Have I mentioned that to you? In fact, I gotta have a song for Tiffany. Okay, here it is. Oh, you're a very, 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 very special lady. Hey, it's frequent. Frequent cheap is not cheap. Okay. And he sets a good model, a good example for the rest of you. For the rest of you to say that he's being cheap. Hi, Dad. What's going on?
Nothing. Just want to remind you that the guy is coming 10:30 to 11:30.
I cleaned up all the tools and everything. I cleaned up all the tools from in there.
You cleaned it up?
The tools. I still haven't gotten all the dust, but I got the tools. I figure might make more dust, so maybe.
Okay, would you take the worst of it out?
Yeah, I got the big chunks and stuff.
Okay, well, yeah, I can see that. I don't know if we're going to have any more dust, so we can get cleaned up after we're finished. And what I'm thinking is then I'm going to go get a tile guy. Are you busy?
Yeah, I'm saying, come on in if you want. I'm live streaming, but that's fine. Would you like me to measure something? Want me to measure your coffee cup? It is 4 inches long.
There goes Miss Kitty. She's out. She sees Pete. Pete's out here waiting for his handout. Sort of, if I can get a plate made to just sit in there, so that if indeed we have to go through this again, even though technically we shouldn't. That lasted 24, 25 years. And rather than have to make it so you can't get in there again.
I was thinking.
You had said you were going to do some tile work.
No, I was actually thinking, why don't we just put in a little door there?
That's what I'm saying, though. But it would be tile or a fascia, I guess is what the thing is, so that you could lift it out, or there's some way that you could get back in rather than go through what you went through yesterday.
Well, in Laverne, we had actually a wooden door that was there. Maybe I could put something like that in there.
Well, whatever, but something that would take care of you could get in without having to go through the agony of having to retile it.
Right.
Okay, well, that's my contribution for the morning.
Cool.
And SC's on at 12:30.
I know, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, I'm watching Penn State, and
I have to work from 1 to 2, but I should be able to catch most of the game.
okay. What are you doing, Pete? Just hanging out. Very few people have a peacock coming to greet them in the morning.
Yeah, we're lucky that way. Hey, Dad, I have a quick question for you. What's worse for humanity overall? Christianity or atheism/materialism?
What's worse for humanity?
Yeah.
I think it's an apples and oranges proposition. I don't think that's a valid contrast.
Okay. So if I were to say what's worse for humanity, Christianity or Hinduism, what would you say? Would that be a more valid contrast?
I would say that's a more valid transition. The answer is neither.
Okay. So what about okay, well, comment more then on what you think the relationship between various belief systems and the benefit or harms to the world might be.
The religion in and of itself, as practiced by the individual, is neutral, neither beneficial nor harmful, until the collective belief gets involved in politics and is reflected in the way that the particular group is governed. Mm-hmm. You look at the rise of Hinduism in India, which is now reflected on. It's either Hindu or the highway. They're actively suppressing Muslims. On the other hand, Muslims have vowed to kill all people who aren't Muslims. So we're now into a governmental position on religion, which is harmful to anybody who isn't in that case. So I guess my situation would be that an individual practicing in his own or in small groups is just fine, as long as it doesn't translate into
public
inflicting
policy
that on other.
Yeah, it shouldn't. I mean, there should be a clear division between faith-based notions and public policy. I think is perfectly reasonable.
So was that a little long-winded? But
no, that's a great answer, Dad. I enjoyed your answer quite a bit. What do you think about what do you think the effect of Biden is going to be on COVID policies? You think it's going to make it even worse?
Well, I want to go back to the religion thing.
Okay.
Parenti Alioto, in a speech as the Supreme Court justice, made a speech in which he said liberals are a threat to free speech and free practice of religion. Now, as a member of a third branch of government who is unelected and pretty much unimpeachable, does that constitute a statement on the relationship between religion and governmental policy? Now, can he separate himself from his personal belief in adjudicating cases involving religion or free speech brought by apparently some liberal group or other And the answer for my answer is no, he can't. That religion will therefore, I'm assuming his religion will therefore foreshadow his rulings on matters related to free speech and religion.
Well, I mean, but simply expressing that you have a given perspective on something, or that you frame your understanding of law through a given frame of reference, doesn't mean you're going to be biased every time anything linking to that frame of reference comes before you. I mean, it's like if I were to say, the problem I have with what he said is this groupist part, right? That liberals are a threat too. Because
that's Alioto. That's a quote. It's not
right.
me.
Yeah, I'm saying that's the problem with it. Where I agree with you that it's a problematic statement because he's engaged in that same kind of one group is the bad guys, one group is the good guys thing.
Yeah,
and that ultimately is harmful to everything. But the thing is, I don't necessarily know that his statements on free speech and the free practice of religion, minus the blame it on the liberals part, are implicitly indicative that he's going to be biased about cases related to those things.
well, you would think, and this is the era of shattered norms, that
Great title for
Roberts has, without question, tried to depoliticize the court. And he stated that the court's rule is to, et cetera, et cetera. But you have Alioto as a reliable, in almost every case that I've seen, voting with the true conservative conscience. Okay, that's his job, but to have stated it so unequivocally, as I say, foreshadows his vote.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, okay.
Did I say Alioto? He was the mayor of San Francisco, Alito.
I knew who you were talking about. So the thing is, like Roberts, though, he set the frame very early in his Chief Justicehood that he was going to be a competing interests guy and not a principles guy. Because what happened with the Obamacare thing? He decided to do what was politically expedient and what was splitting the difference, which is I'll give them what they want, but for a reason that makes no sense. In other words, I'll rule correctly about the unconstitutionality of this, but then I'll let them do it anyway for a reason that makes no sense. This is unconstitutional. You can't do this, but we'll call it a tax. So you can't, even though it clearly isn't a tax.
And I think we're in for Obama too for the next 4 years.
I mean, I don't think Biden and Harris are really going to get much of anything accomplished because they've got this huge mess in front of them to clean up first. Biden's got dementia. Harris is going to the extent that she tries to step up and fill the vacuum, is not going to be appreciated. She's going to incur appropriately the righteous rage of everybody who can see through the fact that she tried to backdoor her way into the presidency.
I would doubt anybody with a reasonable amount of brain power would not have recognized that from the get-go.
Well,
I mean, when even Trump calls him Sleepy Joe.
I know, but what I'm saying is the populace that elected Joe Biden is not as left embracing as the vice president.
The election of Joe Biden is more about anti-Trump than it is about policy or progressives or AOC.
Right. Nobody wants Harris dictating policy. The vote for Biden-Harris does not indicate that. It's certainly anything but a mandate from the people about Harris and Biden. It's a mandate about Trump, maybe, but not about Harris and Biden.
Well, I know. That's why I'm saying that it really wasn't about. And I'm not saying that easy because it may well have been about health care. It certainly wasn't about foreign policy, whether we should get in the Paris Accord or go back to make nicey with Iran. None of that I think had pretty much zero effect. Healthcare, yeah. COVID, yeah. And Trump.
What do you think about AOC?
She's hot.
Good answer. Good answer. Number one answer on the board.
AOC will be the leader of the squad and then some, and she will. I can't imagine that Pelosi will not be reaffirmed as Speaker. AOC will be the thorn in her paw.
Mm.
And AOC now has enough clout, even though the Republicans picked up as high as 15 seats, even though I don't think that's the exact number. And unfortunately, Kevin McCarthy is still echoing the Trump won mantra. But I'm going to go back to the Supreme Court for a minute. And I think, quite frankly, Barrett and certainly Kavanaugh are going to be the jokers in the deck. Already Kavanaugh has shown signs of not towing the conservative mark.
What substantive
Bye-bye.
What substantive issues do you see facing the court facing this term?
Well, healthcare is first issue.
Hey, hello. Hi. Well, what do you, okay, so what are we working on? Oh, you want me to work with Jeffrey on debate this morning? Okay. Well, okay. Right now I'm live streaming. I've got a client at 1 to 2, and I want to watch the USC game, which starts at 12:30 and probably lasts until like 4 o'clock. I could, if you want me to work with Chloe from 11 a.m. to noon, I can do that today. And then if you want me to work with Jeffrey like in the evening or something, that's possible. Okay. Let me check my calendar. Jeffrey, sometime in the evening. I won't put anything down yet because we don't know what time yet. But tomorrow I have a 12 to 1, and that is currently all I see on the schedule for tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Sunday. I'm doing 12 to 1 already as booked. So if you want to do if we're doing debate, we should probably do 2 hours. We could either do 10 to 12 or we could do 2 to 4. Oh, okay, my bad. You're right. So this is just creative. Yeah, 11 and 12 is fine. Yeah, 11 and 12 is fine. Um, you mean, well, isn't that what I'm putting in for Sunday at 11 as a creative writing? Oh, that's Chloe. Okay. I mean, just an hour would be fine. Maybe even half an hour to figure out exactly what it is that I'm doing here, because I'm still trying to, we started having a conversation about what is the assignment going to be. Okay, well, sure. Yeah, just like maybe an hour the first time. We'll see how it goes, and I'll have some better sense afterwards of what I think is a good. Yeah, that's fine. 10 to 11 on Sunday. 10 to 11 on Sunday, Jeffrey, with the creative writing. Okay, and then 11 to noon with Chloe tonight sometime. But you'll follow up with me about what the time. Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks. Bye. Working, schmirking, I would say. And see, this is more like it. 9 people, 7 thumbs up. That sounds like Eric's live stream. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think, Cloud? It's like rain on a cloudy day. It's like sunshine when you're already late. It's like lots of cheese when you don't have a gate. And who would have thought it mattered? Yeah, I was really happy with my dad sitting here and talk. I wish I hadn't gotten a phone call. He's worried about FE consequences. Like, I don't want to. I'm sorry, I know you're busy. I keep telling him, no, Dad, I would love for you to just sit here and engage about this. I would just ask you questions and let him talk and stuff. He's got lots of interesting things to say. He's got great opinions on just about everything. Like, I rarely hear him take a dumb position on anything. Somebody like Cloud asked him a dumb question. I read it out loud just to see what he would do with it, and he made short work of it. I'm very proud of my father for that. He was not having it. Of course it is. What's worse for humanity, Christianity or atheism? Christianity and atheism aren't giant monsters attacking Tokyo, Cloud. They are words we use to describe things like your own personal relationship with magical thinking frames. What my dad explained was the problem is when it becomes, he explained it all. I'm not going to go over his answer again. That's what made it a dumb question. First of all, you're trying to poison the well, positioning them both as bad to begin with, and asking which is worse, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but it's not a good way to ask a question. Regardless, I appreciated the question. This is the thing, Cloud. While it was a bad question, I appreciated it because it was a neat display, a neat chance to demonstrate that why I'm the way I am, and the home in which I grew up, and the way that my dad is just badass like that. Made me so happy to hear him go, Nida. It's like, I wasn't allowed to get away with Cloud's bullshit in my life. In my life growing up, I was never allowed to get away with Cloud's bullshit. When I ask questions, they needed to actually mean something. I couldn't just gesture randomly at metaphors, If you have a problem with exanity, then don't be a Christian. Who's exanity? And nowadays, no one is forcing anyone to be religious. Right. I'm not. I don't have any problem with Christians. I'm a Christian. And I got a little bit of a problem with the worshippers of Pele because they keep trying to throw me into the volcano as a sacrifice. But other than that, I'm all for whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. SPJ Alito's opinion has caused title headlines in the news. I was interested in hearing what your father said. He did not disappoint me. He did teach me how to respond. Do you think your dad being a philosophy doctorate and thinker had something to do with you becoming an ENTP, or do you think it's more nature than nurture? Yeah, I think it's more nature than nurture. I mean, I'm not sure at what point somebody has their personality type defined. I'm not sure if it's a conception, if it's in the womb, if it's after birth. I don't know. I would say that it's not entirely genetics because I've known identical twins who had different personalities. I've personally known these two girls, Jen and Kendall Johnson. And boy, Jen was a slut. Everybody knew Jen Johnson. But Kendall was my friend Will's girlfriend for a while. And she was, come on in.
I have to run an errand for Kathy.
Sure.
Shouldn't be that long, but 10:30 is when the first part when the guy comes. I think I should be back by then, but just in case.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I am who I am. That has not changed, but I learned to watch my words until I arrived where words matter and so do thinkers. I do think that my dad's ways have something to do with my level of precision as an ENTP, my character as an ENTP, and my honesty. The natural amorality of an ENTP was not permitted around my house. So, that's a good thing. And the natural uselessness of the ENTP was not permitted either. I was always doing various chores and things. Like I had to go up. My family owned these rental properties up in the high desert, these duplexes. And I had to go up there and paint them. I had to go clean them up and everything. And, I didn't like it at all as a kid. Right? I hated it. But I'm glad that I had to do that. I'm glad that my dad was such a dad, just so TE. And also that he would talk to me about shit like that all the time. And if I asked a question like the question Cloud asked, I would not get away with it for a second. That's not real. That's not a real question, Eric. Those things don't mean anything precise. That's kind of one of the nice things about SI is anything that requires any kind of holistic leap, they dismiss out of hand. So, NI was never accepted as a reasonable answer for anything. Everything had to be useful and or parse out properly with TI. Ideally underneath a TE frame of, that's not how the world works, Eric. Son, when I was a kid and I'd hear that, I'd be like playing or something, doing whatever, reading a book, watching TV, listening to music in the house somewhere, not outside playing with friends. But just around the house. And I'd hear this. Son. Oh my God. Oh. Yeah. Can you come here for a second, please? Go on there. Son. if you're gonna use the, you need to put it back. You know, there's a thing called property, son. You need to respect people's property. I'm sorry I left the screwdriver on the shelf, Dad. Let me put it back in the drawer now. It's like, you know, I took out a screwdriver from the drawer or whatever. I used it for whatever. And I left it on top of the counter, not in the drawer. Is that a dumb thing to do? Yeah. There's no reason not to put it back in the drawer. Have I ever been able to get away with leaving shit out like that? No. No, I've never been able to get away with it. But he respects my space too. Every once in a while, he comes out here and he looks at the state of things. Like our floor is filthy. The floor is constantly filthy because we don't mop, and we don't vacuum very much. But but he basically respects it. You know, well, you know, you live your way, I live mine. Right? Just don't get your intuitardness on me, basically. So, you know, when I would go overboard on anything and, you know, get ideological, I'd get, son, that's not reasonable. You know, you're being ridiculous and embarrassing yourself or something. There was a stretch of time in my childhood when, for a while, I got in the habit of leaving my dishes. I only had like one of them in the sink, and I mean, my dad rinsed it and put, come on in.
Just a reminder, Rachel should probably be out of there about 10:15.
Yeah, I'll go roust her in a bit.
Okay.
Thanks. And he was pissed when I walked in the kitchen one day and there was like a plate that I left in the sink. He's like, do you think I'm here to wash your fucking dishes? I was like, no. Why are you always leaving them in the fucking sink? Okay, I won't do that anymore. You're right. My bad. He made it very clear when my not attending to something burdened him or somebody else, and that was bad. It didn't fix me. I'm still like I am. You know, it's like being raised like that or not. Didn't change me. It didn't make me into a TE person. I'm not structured. I'm not very organized. The same way I got beat over the head with TE, you got FE from your dad. He's an ENFJ. Well, did you like it? Or were you just like, okay, will you please stop painting me with honey? I'm getting extraordinarily sticky now. Are there certain TE types that don't become domineering parents? I mean, ISTJs are very different in how they approach TE than ESTJs. The thing about an ESTJ is TE is their implicit frame, their most ontological absolute value. And so, you know, they get offended when they see things that are not TE validating. Whereas ISTJs, they use TE. So if they see something that's not TE validating, they're likely to use their own TE to help you with it. And that's fine because they don't think it really matters whether you have good TE or not. Whereas it's like ESTJs, TE, the way that it works is different a little bit in the dominant slot than something else. TE requires TESI requires things around it to remain the same. And so if you mess with stuff around the TE DOM, then you've interfered with their whole frame of reference because they're like, okay, when I get home today, I'm going to put that thing in the thing, and then I'm going to go over the man, and then I'm going to chant a pen. Now, if I have, before he gets home from his thing, if I moved a little bit the thing that he was going to deal with first, or like, let's say when I get home, I'm going to eat that that last piece of chocolate cake that had a use by date 2 weeks ago. Okay. It's this plan in his head. I go into the fridge and I see, oh my God, this cake's 2 weeks out of date. I throw it away. Son, property. So I just don't even touch the shit. He could have a bowl of mold on the table, and I just leave it there. He might get offended if I throw it away. It wasn't chocolate cake, but yes, it absolutely was the case that I don't remember what it was, but there was something in the fridge that was way past eating time, as far as from my standard anyway. It was well past the sell by date, use by date, or whatever. I threw it away, and I got quite the scolding. Let me tell you. Of course, there's no rhyme or reason to it, because it was fine when I threw away the spoiled milk. So I guess the difference being that I point out, well, I also threw away that spoiled milk, Dad. So, well, that's different. You can tell it's spoiled, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Rachel Apolosa, my father came in to say, you should clear out of there relatively soon, because we are having somebody attending to our plum issues this morning. And I don't want the plumbers to see you in the nude. I know that in the morning what Rachel likes to do is take off all of her clothes and do nude yoga poses in the bedroom. If I didn't warn her, when the plumbers walked in, she'd be butt naked and doing this one pose where she stands on one leg, has her body sideways, and the other leg straight up in the air like this. She calls it the lady air out, because it's as spread as she can be, and it just really airs out everything. But if, in fact, the plum workers were to come in here at that moment, well, that would be quite a free show for them, let me tell you. I mean, I think that Cloud's value is not in any dispute, but that the means by which he attains value are unusual for around here. For example, I don't think his question was any good as a question. For me, it's a silly question, but I loved how it allowed me to ask my dad something at the time when nobody else was pitching any questions out to him, and I was having trouble coming up with a good question. So I would love to have him keep standing around here and talking and discussing politics and stuff. He's got a lot of worthwhile things to say, a lot of worthwhile things to listen to him. He was a political science professor, and so he's got a lot of political opinions and such. Ooh. Oh. Ah. Oh. Ah. I feel a poop coming on, I think. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's a little gas, actually. Oh, what's that? Oh. Wait. There we go. That's better. That's a little bit better. No, I still feel like I got a poop coming on, though. That doesn't resolve all my stomach stuff. There still needs to be a further expulsion of materials from inside the above butthole region. what is sometimes known as the anal cavity. If you love anal cavities, you'll love the new game from Hasbro, Hungry Hungry Anal Cavities.
Oh.
Is this about pooping?
No, it's about the fact that I have to poop almost very
Oh,
soon.
no.
I feel like,
You should do it now, then. No?
yeah, it was. This is all within the last 5 minutes. Like 6 minutes ago, I was perfectly fine. Oh.
Do you think I'm gonna use the bathroom too? I got him. You're welcome.
Lordy, Lordy. Let me tell you, that was some feces that came out of my bottom.
Can I use it?
The what?
The bathroom?
I feel a lot better now. The Garden of Eden is totally overrated, okay? First of all, you're going to run afoul of what you might call the too many grasshoppers, too few ants phenomenon. You see, in the Garden of Eden, lions and lambs lie down together, and all the other animals do too. The animals don't prey upon each other, but they still poop all over the place. So it's pretty much, I guess you could say, infested with the unholy marriage of predator and prey. A lion isn't supposed to be giving an antelope a massage. There's nothing right about that. Now, I grew up, I guess you'd say, atheist. My dad is quite against the inclusion of religion into the secular society as at the policy level. Bernie Fox has a really good point. Please, everybody, don't let this happen to you. Lately, a lot of people have been getting mauled by lions when they open their mailbox carelessly, assuming nothing's going to jump out at them. Well, don't be that guy who gets mauled because you're careless. Always, before you open your mailbox, knock on it twice and say, "Is there a lion in there?" If there is, you'll hear them shuffling around. They're not going to answer, obviously, but they'll get uncomfortable because lions aren't really good at hiding their emotional displays. Cloud, I was born a square. I'm going to die a square. And I've been a square all in between. So I can stay one shape forever. Your daughter has a tendency to keep trash. She planned to turn into art when she left. I think she pranked us all for a while, and I collected all sort of stuff. I don't do stuff or crafts, or I finally broke her spell. Oh, Winston's mom. How awful. I'm a Mobius coil. That's my shape. I tell you why the world's deteriorating. It's because of that sin, see? Because that deluge of sin, see? Back then, before the Great Deluge, the world had more oxygen, see? Now everybody's sinning all the time, using up all the oxygen. My son's father, the man formerly known as my husband, started buying laundry bags with cracked up when I realized that You only got one shot. Do not miss a chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo. Hi, darling.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. It's really good to see you.
Thanks. Why was I born as a human? Asked Cloud. I didn't do anything bad to deserve being a fallen species. Why wasn't I born as an angel, being already pure? How do you know you didn't do anything bad?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you did before you started being? It was probably terrible. You probably did awful, awful things. You were probably a litterer. You may have been a stop sign runner. Any of those things is enough to doom you to being a fallen species. Why are we a fallen species, Cloud? What are we fallen from? Grace. Satan is trying to convert as many people as he can away from God since he knows he cannot win. His goal is to be equal to God. This is the closest he can get. Jesus, 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 help me find my proper place. Help me in my weakness, 'cause I've fallen out of grace. Jesus, Jesus. You guys know that song? It's a Velvet Underground song.
You say it very nicely.
Thanks. Well, I mean, that's a good song, good Jesus song. A lot of Jesus songs are incredibly terrible because a lot of Jesus songs are like this. They go like, my Lord brings me joy. Praise, 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 praise. It's like, shut up. Is there poop in heaven? That's an excellent question.
That's an excellent question.
And is it qualitatively different? You know, all I can speak to is how it is in heaven. If you're a member of God's Big Heaven Church, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the church I'm planning on opening, God's Big Heaven Church. Its main, it's a for-profit church, and its main revenue model is subscription holy water service. See, here at God's Big Heaven Church, we believe that you should never be caught unawares by death. If you are caught unawares by death with sin on your soul, you won't make it into heaven. So our number one job here at God's Big Heaven Church is to make sure that no matter when you die, under whatever circumstance, no matter how badly you're sinning, you're absolved and go straight to heaven. That's why we recommend ingesting 3 pints of holy water per day. Also, it should be mentioned that being a member of God's Big Heaven Church means you get to go to God's Big Heaven. Now, just think about it. Let's say you're a Catholic. Well, you go to Catholic heaven. But when was Catholic heaven built? Like in the year 100. Do you think Catholic heaven has Wi-Fi? No. Do you think Catholic heaven even has cable? I mean, they do now, but it's like they had to retrofit all the buildings with electrical wiring because when they made them originally, they were like, monasteries basically. If you want to go live in a retrofitted monastery amidst a largely cloud-based ground, there's mostly clouds that are the ground, and there's really not that much space there. They keep back at the time they built when they built it, there was plenty of room, but they had no idea that their fundamental message of go out, be fruitful, and multiply was going to be so successful. And now it turns out that they thought 100 acres, 100 square acres was going to be plenty of space. You are jammed in there in Catholic heaven, jammed. God's Big Heaven Church, we planned ahead. There's enough room in God's Big Heaven now, not just for the current population, but enough so that if the human population were to multiply all the way to 10 trillion people, you would still be able to have your own entire cattle ranch in God's Big Heaven Church. That's how much room we have. We got a whole parsec. We bought a whole parsec of completely undeveloped heaven land, and we built the best heaven the most modern thinkers with the best technology could design and imagine. We used an AI algorithm that was self-learning to help us learn to anticipate possible problems in our heaven design. You know, my TE is not naturally great, but I brought in INTJs. That's how you know God's Big Heaven Church is well designed. It was designed by INTJs right here in America, design capital of the world. And look, if there's one thing Jesus taught us, it's that you are going to sin. So here at God's Big Heaven Church, our message is, hey, take it easy on yourself, okay? You already know you're going to sin. So when you are cheating on your wife and having sex with that prostitute, just have nearby a bottle of God's Big Heaven Church holy water. That way, should you have a heart attack, like let's say you're not only having sex with a prostitute, but also doing speedballs, you very easily could die that night. That's the time when you want to make sure you got a bottle of holy water on hand. As long as shortly before you die, you take one last gulp of holy water, absolution. That's right. What's the best kind of solution? An absolution. When you're talking about death and going to heaven. So we don't blame or shame you for sinning. That's what people are. They're sinners. Okay. We encourage you, go out, get your sin on, dog. Go get that sin on. But have plenty of God's Big Heaven brand church water, holy water on it. There is a confessional booth, but parishioners are encouraged to avoid it.
Who's behind the curtain?
Supposedly I am.
Ah.
A lot of times I just leave a tape recorder that says occasionally. Don't run in because I don't want to hear those people talking about this shit, The point is, that's why we have the holy water. You drink enough holy water, you don't need to confess. You're absolved automatically by the holiness of the water.
Yeah.
I bless it myself. And not only is it blessed, I transubstantiate a few bong rips into it as well. So it gets you a little bit high, maybe. Well, that's one of the many revolutionary changes we've implemented with God's Big Heaven Church. Our motto is you could choose another church if you want a cramped eternity.
What is it?
You could choose another church if you want a cramped eternity.
Because all people go and sleep, they think of one place. Don't think about
Right. We really did break the mold. Our gates, you could describe them as a lot of different things, but there's one thing that no sane human being would ever describe God's Big Heaven's gates as. Pearly. We decided to break the mold, to contrast against the expectations. When you walk up to those gates, they're not pearly at all. Babies poop in the womb? That is so disgusting. Is that true? Babies don't poop in the womb.
Well, what happens to the poop?
I don't believe that. I think Randy Fox is wrong. Babies don't poop in the womb. But I mean, why do they have to poop at all until they're born? I don't think they have to poop at all until they're born. I think that they just get exactly the amount of nutrition they need with no extra nutrition to defecate. Well, I mean, one accurate description of a human being would be a machine that converts food into poop and pee, food and liquids into poop and pee. Really? I had no idea. That's so gross.
Yeah.
Randy Fox informs us, yes, just a couple months into their development, little humans begin peeing freely into the amniotic fluid that surrounds them in the womb. Are you saying that I'm born smelling of pee? Did I smell like pee when I was born? Nobody told me. People, you gotta give me a heads up about this shit.
I'm so sorry, babe.
They'll consume that urine as they swallow the amniotic fluid. In utero, pooping is less common. Ew.
Look at that face.
Ew. You know, I really enjoy a large plateful of afterbirth in the morning. Tall cup of coffee, cool breeze, cigarette, and a large plate of uncooked afterbirth. It's just like, I love the smell of it. You know, I don't eat it. I just let it sit there on the table and gather flies. No, you don't want to eat that stuff. Look, it's just decorative. It's just decorative and for air freshening reasons. Because what often shocks people is afterbirth smells exactly like Febreze. The interesting thing about the just a lump of cell things is, of course, is the word just. You know, I guess you could say my mole on the back of my neck is just a lump of cells, right? It's not an entity in and of itself. Okay, so it's a lump of cells that comprises a little thing that's on my neck. One could call it a part of me, but it's more properly referred to as a growth, mostly harmless or completely harmless, I don't know, that is that has grown on top of me, so to speak. But of course, the lump of cells that you guys are talking about is objectively an early stage of development of some sort of organism. It's not remotely similar to a mole in that regard. Regardless of what you make of that fact, that's there is a meaningful distinction there.
You joint, my love.
Yes, I can. I can roll you a joint.
They're my favorite.
And I will roll you a joint.
See how great he is?
In case you guys hadn't heard, I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of this. Virginia is for lovers. So, all you haters, get out of Virginia. No haters allowed. Yo, Virginia is for lovers, so get under the covers, girl. Oh, yeah, we're humping. Virginia is for lovers, so get under the covers, girl. Oh, yeah, we're humping. Do I think higher education should be reformed? If so, how? I think that we should get rid of accreditation. I think you should leave it up to each individual who gets post high school education to get whatever education they want, and leave it up to the educational institute that is providing that education to provide the means by which the students who get that education can understand both its utility and market value, and the means by which they can convey that to prospective employers. I think that you want to basically let the free market do its thing. Accreditation is a funny thing. It's like, if you're talking about medicine, then you've got doctors who have to get very much like licensing and stuff, right? And then you have hospitals as well. They get their own kind of like report card or whatever. But education is strange because there's teaching credentials, but while it's pretty difficult for anyone to imagine in this day and age me doing surgery without a doctor's education, it's not very difficult to imagine me teaching somebody something without any formal credentialing. In fact, teaching is an implicit part of life. Everybody teaches and everybody learns. So it's a different kind of thing. The accreditation issue is a problem because in order to justify their legitimacy as accreditors, they need to standardize and otherwise set expectations for educational institutes. People think that more standardization and centrally dictating what's taught and how it's taught and stuff is a good idea and successful. But the reality is the problems with education all link to standardization. We should individuate, I guess you'd say, educational products to individual students' actual needs and interests. This, like, everybody gets a general education thing is bullshit. And it's even more bullshit at the higher education level. I mean, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that. Look, I think we need to respect the fact that we're in a world that both requires us to specialize more and that requires us concurrently to specialize less. So what does that mean? I'm saying that if I'm going to be successful in any given field, then it's becoming, if it's a serious field, the amount of stuff I need to learn, master, whatever, is fairly significant and increasingly so. It's not like the field of mathematics is becoming smaller or staying the same size. There are ever more interesting solutions, conjectures, etc. in math as age-old problems get solved. New modeling techniques emerge to create languages that can do different things and can intertranslate mathematically. So increasingly, it makes less and less sense to, for example, take somebody who wants to go into mathematics and make them take a bunch of non-math classes, because it's not like they're gonna have a hard time running out of math classes, even if that's all they took. It also doesn't make a lot of sense to have them split their attention between stuff that they're really interested and good at and something that they're begrudgingly doing because they're forced to. I like your thinking a lot, Louis the 17th, who points out less Eurocentrism in education and exclusively Afrocentrism in education, starting in kindergarten, which must be renamed Black Lives Matter Garden. It's a great idea.
It is.
I really feel woke right now. It's as though I were sleeping. I was fast asleep. I was dreaming about racist things and how racist I am. And then all of a sudden, boom, somebody woke me up. It was Louis the 17th. He woke me up with the truth. The truth. The truth. Kwanzaa is the only holiday I need to celebrate. February is the only month worth living. Ain't nothing but Kwanzaa and Black History Month for me from now on.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Instead of celebrating the moments of my life, I'm going to, from this moment forward, fixate entirely on how my current situation emerges from historical instances of injustice.
Wow, that's big.
I'm going to become a powerful advocate for reparations and refer to other African Americans as my people. That's my plan. This, I believe.
Thank you.
If you've never seen Steve Martin's This, I Believe, it's not really that funny, but I really like the concept of it. Steve Martin has a lot of good conceptual stuff.
Yeah.
This, I Believe, is pretty good, though. I almost feel like I could do This, I Believe, in Steve Martin's voice. Not really his voice, but his delivery style.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here comes Dad. Hi, Dad.
I'm home, just let you know.
All right, cool. You've probably heard I was into the comedy thing. I'm kind of getting out of that right now, into a little bit more of a serious deal. And so that's why right now I'd like to talk about what I believe. I believe in rainbows and puppy dogs and fairy tales. And I believe in family, mom and dad and grandma and Uncle Tom who waves his penis. And I believe in 8 of the 10 commandments. And I believe in going to church every Sunday unless there's a game on. And I believe that sex is one of the most beautiful, wholesome, and natural things that money can buy. And I believe it's derogatory to refer to a woman's breasts as boobs, jugs, Winnebagos, or golden bozos, and that you should only refer to them as hooters. And I believe you should put a woman on a pedestal high enough up so you can look up her dress. And I believe in equality. Equality for everyone, no matter how stupid they are or how much better I am than they are. And people say I'm crazy for believing this, but I believe that robots are stealing my luggage. And I believe I made a mistake when I bought a 30-story one-bedroom apartment. And I believe the battle of the network stars should be fought with guns. I believe that Ronald Reagan can make this country what it once was, an Arctic ocean covered with ice. And lastly, I believe that of all the evils on the earth, there is nothing worse than the music you're listening to right now. That's what I believe. Next, Steve Martin's I Believe monologue from Saturday Night Live, circa whatever. Oh, you believe in all 10 of the commandments? Really? Even the one about not heaving sheep on top of your shoulders and running around with them carelessly? I've rejected that one. I've concluded that I can lift as many sheep as I like. Yes, it's true. So if you never read it, one book that influenced me a great deal when I was a child was the book Cruel Shoes by Steve Martin. And it's what you might call a remarkable little book. I was just so smitten with it right off the bat. Just, wow, what is this? This is so good. Where's the full text of it?
Gotta go into. Desert.
Sunday, maybe? Where's the one I looked at yesterday or whenever I was looking at it? Ridiculous. Why can't I find it?
He is a part of the he's above the age of baby boomers.
He is?
Mm-hmm.
How old is he?
He was born in 1945.
Wow. I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So he might be a part of your parents' generation?
He'd be probably like one of the youngest of the silent generation, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. That's interesting. I want to search history for Cruel Shoes. I want one that's not on this day.
But I thought you saw it on YouTube.
No, I found the PDF. Is this it? It
Yeah.
appears to be. Yes. So yeah, this I was able to, and I was able to find it again, the PDF of the whole thing. I'll put the link for it here. It's pretty great. For example, I'd always thought dogs to be playful and spirited. To me, they were animals who loved to chase sticks and romp around and lick you. That is, I used to think that. Until that day, I met the serious dogs. When I first saw the serious dogs, they were sitting on a small hill out to the side of my house, watching the sunset. One dog was standing on his hind legs, leaning his elbow on a tree, lost in melancholy thought. They all watched this particularly glorious sunset. Then each sighed in turn and strolled in a pack over the hills. Were these the dogs I had thrown bones to for the last several months? These daydreamers? Several days later, I saw the dogs lunching under the willow. They were not gulping their food down like Spritzy does. They seemed almost refined. After a dining day, buried their trash, cleaned themselves up, and disappeared over the horizon. I waited about half an hour and then took my shovel over to that willow and dug up what they had buried there. Several wrappers of cheese, some half-eaten doggy biscuits, and good Lord, 2 empty bottles of a fairly expensive Bordeaux. I turned confused and saw a small pamphlet lying on the ground. I picked it up and read the title, Federal Migratory Waterfowl Stamps. Well, I thought, some poor stamp collector left his book here. Just then, one of the serious dogs appeared and gently took the volume from my hands and patted off. I stopped. This was something more than just some dogs who didn't like to play fetch. I decided to secretly follow this dog. I laid about 100 yards back and watched him. I was impressed with his courtesy to the other animals and his compulsion to leave his pathway neat. If a branch had fallen over, he would right it. If leaves had blown over this trail, he would brush them back onto less traveled ground. Then I saw him crawl through an opening in some thick brush. As I approached, I could hear the sounds of the other dogs moving lightly. I moved toward the opening and cautiously peered through. I could see a few dogs staring intently at something, as though studying it. I could not make out exactly what it was, so I moved in closer. I was sure not to make my presence known. As I parted some branches in the brush, I saw a most incredible sight. A fully constructed skeleton of a cow. The construction was crude, to be sure, but missing only the head and feet, it was well formed and highly commendable. I remembered throwing them bones now and then, and I could recall several of the dogs seeming to analyze it before accepting it. I looked along the ground and saw several of my books I had thrown out months before. They were well kept and stored upright. Most were referenced, but I recognized several of the better novels. Then I noticed some dogs all facing something and sniffing judiciously like connoisseurs would sniff wine. I could not make out what they were looking at as a bush blocked my line of sight. I moved ever so slowly through the underbrush with such caution that it took me a full 10 minutes to travel 5 feet. Then, with some trepidation, I lifted my eyes at the object of the dog's curiosity and saw, my God, the lost Monet.
Wow.
That's
So good.
that's one of the stories in that book. That's it. That's the whole story. The book's full of things like that, you know? It's full of them. Hi, David Sanderson. Why do you want me to make Spirit my moderator? God damn Twitter.
Why was on Twitter?
Something that I'm supposed to look at. This Xander Hall guy he's 21 years old. He's a debate pro. He's got 54,000 YouTube subscribers.
Oh.
I see it. What do you think of Daria and Artie? I mean, the truth is, I don't like him, but I think the idea of successfully linking attentional manners to brain light up patterns is a good idea. And I wish he were doing it properly. But I mean, I generally don't like his attitude or approach to things, which I see as basically being NEFI. They don't get asked regularly to debate. Huh, that's weird. People are probably a little scared, you know. What are some of his positions? Like, what kind of shit does he argue in favor of? Can you think of something where I disagree with them about it? He's a bread tuber? What's a bread tuber? I don't know what a bread tuber is. Is it somebody who keeps their bread in a tube? You know, they do have canned bread. You can get canned bread. How do I know that canned bread exists and that it's possible to get it? Well, the answer is I saw it in an MRE from that guy who eats old MREs, which is a great channel if you are interested in checking out some weird ISTJ shit. I mean, huh. Well, bread tube, huh? That's kind of interesting. One of the big problems with the nature of the world in general is it wants to put you in one of these kind of boxes. Now, it's fine for most things to be put into a box. Like, if you want to put me into various musical boxes, it's unavoidable. I'm more like art rock than I am like classical concerto. What do you mean? You think there are too many wrenches or what? I've given out a couple of wrenches recently, but I generally try not to. I did give one to Running Fox and one to Zandy recently, and Sean.
Oh Lordy, big fell button. Oh Lordy, fell head. Stuck in my head now.
Oh Lord, that pick a bale cotton. Oh Lord, pick a bale of hay. Lord, that pick a bale of cotton. Lord, that pick a bale of hay. There, that's what it sounds like when you pick a bale of hay. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it a stream. I'm feeling kind of like tired or something. I mean, look, I advocate that we should. Yeah, I advocate that. Well, Sanderson It's been a little bit while. It's been for a while now. So if you want me to have an affirmation that people generally associated with the left are probably going to be happy to negate, I would like to get rid of the capital gains tax. So I'd be happy to debate capital gains tax with anybody. That'd be easy to do. I favor a flat tax in general. I mean, the truth is, what I favor is a federal sales tax replacing all other federal taxes. Even if it has to be fairly high, it would be a much better tax. Instead of taxing productivity, you tax consumption, which should please the environmentalists and certainly be beneficial for the economy, be more fair. And the thing is, look, I am open to doing that as well, Spirit, just having a talk, but I've had a bad experience with that, with this Matt guy who was an ENFP and didn't know how to put together arguments at all, and was absolutely convinced he did. The ultimate Dunning-Kruger. I don't think that'd be a problem in this instance. But the thing is, if it's going to turn into a debate, everyone is better off if we have a resolution to begin with, because you don't ever have a real debate unless you have a resolution. A statement that one person is affirming and the other person is negating allows the conversation to be meaningful in a way that it never will be meaningful if you don't have that. No, I don't have them downloadable. That's not answering the stream. That's answering the person in the email. I mean, I'd prefer to debate it. If he says he's a debater and then he's only 21, there's a decent chance Okay. All right, Spirit Mail, fine. I will try to do that. I don't use Twitter. I do have a Twitter that I logged into when I clicked that link, but I don't know how to communicate with people via Twitter. I guess it's send them a mail or something, or this message or mail or what? Messages. I see. Yeah, you could start a new message. Well, what should I write on? Somebody else write it for me. And I'll copy and paste it. And I have to go check Twitter to see if he responds. That video about how to woo each type was very accurate. Thanks, Hambone. First, find an area of disagreement. I mean, I guess I could do this writing thing myself here. It is my strong suit, but I'm pretty lazy. Okay, well, let's debate then, Spirit Maya. Why don't we? Oh, you're not saying that to me. You're saying, Eric, just say, I'm a YouTuber. I'd like to have a debate with you. Okay. I'll take a slightly different approach, perhaps. I'll say, I mean, that's the thing. This is the problem with approaching people like this. I don't know anything about him. I don't watch his shit. And I can't, as a consequence, really engage him, or don't want to, I guess, with the material enough to determine where we disagree, so I know what to debate him about. It's like, and the other problem is, to the extent, that's what I'm going to say. Now, maybe I could even link to this stream and say, with a timestamp, and say, everyone's bugging me to debate you about something. And so this guy, Spirit Mail, talked me into communicating with you via Twitter. I don't even know what your positions overall are, but I am running for president in 2024, and I could put that. That might intrigue him. My name is Eric Strauss, and fucking hell. God damn it. I pushed enter accidentally. Eric. I'm a YouTuber who live streams a lot and talks about a variety of subjects. Anyhow, Spirit Mail is someone who watches you and follows you on Twitter. And he's been hounding me to contact you and see if we might schedule a debate. I'm running president in 2024 and am well informed about most policy matters, and additionally have a great position. Thoughts? I'm sure we could find a resolution that I affirm that you oppose, or vice versa. Thoughts? I'll put this here. I'm not nearly as big as you, I only have 6,500 subs. I guess I should put other Spanish wiggly lines. Mayo is chatting in my live stream. Chatting at me during this live stream. And he's someone who watches you, follows you on Twitter, and he's handing me to contact you and see if we might schedule it. I'm running for president for I'm well informed about policy matters. Should have a clear position on most. I'm sure we can find a resolution. I affirm that you oppose or vice versa. Would you be interested in debating me? Debating me. If curious, you can even you can see the discussion and the composition of this message on my most recent live stream.
So what's this for you to give at the end of your YouTube link?
Entitled R.I.P. Sean Connery. I will. My channel is here. Colon. You could also just put in youtube.com/talking to famous people, I believe. Yeah, so I'm going to do that one. That looks nicer than that complicated URL. Okay, it's got a check mark next to it. So I don't know if that means he's seen it or just that it's successfully sent. But I'll leave that open. We'll see if he replies or something.
I think you're the dude.
I'm the dude?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean I abide?
Yeah.
And I'm going to stream the debate. If he wants to debate me, then I'll suggest we stream it. I'd like to stream it on my channel, but if he wants to stream it on his channel or something, that's fine. Or I don't know. I'll have to talk to him about it. I'll do it however he wants to do it. He's bigger than me, so he kind of gets to set the terms. But if he wants to debate me with any sort of reasonable terms, I'll be down to do it. In other words, if he doesn't stack the debate totally against me with a totally slanted or skewed resolution, it'll be fine. Why do I feel so fuzzy right now? I feel like for no good reason. Man, I feel kind of. That's how I feel. That's my emotion and or my SI. I'm not sure. Leave it running. Do I have to work soon? Not that soon. I don't really have any compelling reason to leave right now. It's 11 a.m. I do want to watch some football today, but most importantly, I would like to watch the USC game, which is at 12:30. But
I want to watch it too.
I have a typing at 1 though, so I think we'll watch the first half hour of it. I'll do the typing for an hour and then resume watching it after that. I guess I just won't end it right now. Then, if you guys want me to leave it running, I'll just stay here and Mugi the Mia. Am I the one with fuzz? I do feel rather fuzzy. I'm not sure if it's because I have fuzz, aspire to fuzz, experience fuzz, know fuzz, or realize fuzz. It's one of those things. Rachel, did you steal my coffee cup? I think you did.
Yes, but I actually took it from the bathroom where you left it, so I think it's mine.
Oh, you got me there. You got me.
I have to use the other cup.
She got me by the rule: finders, keepers, losers, weepers. What are you leaving? Oh, I see. Hilarious. I think maybe I'll strum a little bit of an old country song for us here on the guitar.
That's lucky.
Thanks for thinking it's such. So, what's crazy, Rachel, you weren't around when this was occurring, but there was a stretch of time early in the stream when it was normal stream attendees. It was like, 10, 11 or whatever. And then it started going up and it was like 20, and it was 30, and then it was 40, and then it was 50, then it was 60, then it was 70, then it was 80, then it was 103 or 104.
Oh my gosh.
Except there's no way that those people were actually real people. Because, first of all, it happened quite fast, like in jumps of 10, like chunk, 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 chunk. All of a sudden it's 100 people. And then I said, okay, I don't believe these people are real. There's something going on with the stats here that's not accurate, because that's weird. So I said, all right, if there really are 100 people here, please, please, please push thumbs up, or, I didn't say or thumbs down, but I would have been fine too. Please push thumbs up so I can get some indication that you are real and not just bots. Mm-hmm. Nothing happened. Please put a chat of some sort. Nothing happened. So if in fact those were people, even if they were just sort of checking it out for the first time, they would have said something. I would have had some sort of response.
Yeah, so you're thinking bots?
Well, so I've got a couple of different possible theories. I think that the theories fall into 3 basic categories. The first one, which we just eliminated essentially, is that they were actually real people. The second one would be that they're bots. Or the third one would be that it's a bug or a glitch in YouTube. So if it's the second one, then one would have to wonder what the purpose of that would be. Like, were they all trying to come here to stay for a short period of time and then leave to hurt the watch time on this? That would be one possible thing that would occur to me. Or were they somehow some other sort of thing, like maybe a test of somebody's bot thing to see if it works, and they just haven't tested on this, or what? I don't know. So I guess what I'm getting at is, well, that's possible, but I was thinking about it some. I think the most likely answer is it wasn't bots. It was a glitch in YouTube. Because it's hard to understand why somebody would bot me thusly. It's hard to come up with a good explanation as to how it would hurt me. I don't think anybody would bot me to help me. And they didn't really do much of anything, which suggests, it's not like they weren't here to troll. In other words, if somebody were to want to ruin the stream, they'd have 80 bots each chatting random nonsense into the chat so that nobody can have a meaningful conversation.
True.
Or something like that. So it's either they were just sort of testing out a dry run of bots or trying to impact my watch time, neither of which seems very likely. It seems unlikely that they would just try to hurt my watch time on this one stream because it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Now,
but that sort of thing does happen. Like it happens on Instagram where like I'll get like a lot of views and it's all like bot stuff.
the thing is, if it's bots, therefore, I think the most logical explanation for being bots would be that I happen to be a random channel that somebody was testing out some bot stuff that they were working on, and they didn't intend to actually do anything. They just wanted it was sort of a proof of concept or something for them. Now, if somebody were doing something like that, then it would play out like that, and there would be no explanation I could reasonably conclude from it. So that's a possibility. But more likely than that is that it's some sort of glitch in YouTube, because since it's very challenging to articulate a believable impact or motivation for the thing, then it's probably not bots. Did he reply yet? No, I don't think so. No. I would think it would take some time for him to reply. Unless he happens to just be sitting right there, you know. I don't think anybody would bot me to help. Outside San Diego, just across from the old mission, there sits a plot of land of particular beauty, the famous Diarrhea Gardens of El Camino Real. The Diarrhea Gardens were founded in 1573 by mission Indians when they first ate the food of the white man. Later, when stuffy missionaries tried to rid the Indians of their customs and traditions, the Diarrhea Gardens were spared because their removal was, to quote Father Sarah, piled high with difficulties. When the gardens were rediscovered in 1952, everyone turned conservationist and did their best to preserve the land for the thousands of tourists they knew would flock there. Even Howard Johnson refused to build a hotel on that spot in order to preserve the land. So, as it often is with areas of rare beauty, the Diarrhea Gardens still lie in the shade of the magnolia trees and still give their aroma to the wafting sea breezes that head up the coast to San Clemente.
Mm-hmm.
That's another story from Steve Martin's Cruel Shoes. The Undertakers. Old Pops had been stone cold dead for 2 days. He was rigid, gruesome, and had turned slightly green, and now he lay on a slab at the Undertaker's, about to be embalmed by 2 lovable old morticians. At least he lived to a ripe age, said one. Yep, said the other. Well, let's get to her. Suddenly, old Pops bolted upright, and without opening his eyes, began to utter this story. In 1743, Captain Rice set sail from England with an unreliable and mutinous crew. After 3 days at sea, the mast of the mainsail splintered and then broke completely in half. The ship tossed about at sea for 2 days. The men mutinied. The ship tossed about for another 2 days. At the end of the 3rd day, a ship appeared on the horizon and rescued them, and good Captain Rice failed to mention to the Admiral the incident of the mutiny, and his crew became faithful and hard-working and devoted to themselves to their captain. Old Pops laid back down on the marble table. Well, said one mortician, there goes the old saying, dead men tell no tales. I mean, that one is kind of silly, you know. How about the day that the dopes came over? I was sitting at home peeking through the blinds at my neighbor's wife, minding my own business, when my doorbell rang. "Who's there?" I shouted. "We don't know," came the reply. I immediately knew the dopes had come over. I opened the door and invited them in. I was happy to have company, even if they were a bunch of dopes. "Well, what brings you over this way?" I queried. Yup, they said. "Would you like some coffee?" I asked. "Goal," said one dope. "How long we been here?" "About 2 minutes." "Goal, we should have left hours ago." And they packed up some of my things and lumbered out. "Goodbye, dopes," I shouted. They turned to me and shouted back, "Goodbye, you big fucking idiot." What? Oh, Steve Martin. You so cray.
So cray.
Morse and the Naughty Magnets. One morning, Bill Potter, the clerk at the old sweets shop, awoke to find his toes being sucked on by 2 Chinese telegraph operators. Unable to communicate with him, he marched down to the Western Union office, the Chinese still sucking on his toes, and spoke with Elmo, the town's telegrapher. "Come in."
Wait.
Oh, sorry, Rachel. I didn't know you were trying to change it. Sorry, Rachel. Sure. I'm coming right now. Sorry, Rachel.
It's okay.
I don't think you saw anything.
All right, good. Thanks. You just seen me naked before. It's not a first. I just don't like it happening.
I don't blame you. All right, I'm going to put on some music for you to listen to. I got to go inside. So here you go.
Yay.
Let me get a mask.
People everywhere gather up in a means out there. It's a sign. How do they send their priorities? These falling back 7 follow necessarily from their savage way.
There's a mess.
Yeah, there's
It's all in cousin and Desiree. With that gift and ready like the need. We all look at the destruction of the whole damn world. Hoping Julie will do. Hoping Julie will do. Cherishing moments. You just can't do things like they do. Julie always thought that she should have got to when she had the chance to buy. Julie soon forgot to buy tune and not although she have a car. People everywhere gather up in a means that wave that how then it's a sign. How do they send their priorities? These falling back 7 Consuming our misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. It's all in cousin and Desiree. We're stuck inside ready like the need. We all petition the residents and cause destruction of the whole damn world. 30,000 days, too many expectations, not even worth a damn. 30,000 nights, to sleep off intoxication, otherwise we won't escape the plan. I'll face it way, but you can tell them the priorities. Is there anybody who's the key? 'Cause I'm tired of doing wrong. Want direction and have all alone. know until I know. Or is that just hesitation? Clarity's no good once your chance is gone. What I need to show is it's so below my station. I'm tired of doing it wrong. I've wasted half my days trying another's ways, working on the priorities. Is there anybody knows the key? 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. Doing this wrong. Oh, he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate planning to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him. Going to the gym, make yourself good enough again. Yeah, you guys both have lots invested. That's not a reason to stay around. For the years you've both been tested. Have to move up and higher ground. So he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate blaming to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him. Going to the gym, make yourself good enough again. Be done with him. If Jesus was people but absent of sin, he must then have struggled with regular men and women, of course, when they too were present. Disciples all warily eyeing the lesson. Jesus, once there betrayed, easy believing forever is lost. Really naive, it's not to be saved, but the wise may terrible cost. If people were Jesus, they'd know what they think, and everyone's word would be true. And feelings once spoken would sit where they sing, and we all know just what to do. People like Jesus, once they're betrayed, easy believing forever is lost. Really naive, it's not to be saved, but the wise may terrible cost. No one you thought you knew, act like you never have met. The life you made for two has faded into regret. shaken, we all have been shook. But being forsaken don't mean you're forsook. Though in the past you've been hung out to dry, we're finding at last. We just have to try. People like Jesus, once they're betrayed, easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naive it's not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Maybe naive it's not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost.
Got a story about 10 years old. It's a song for an open road, and such a thing must always do its job. Married up Jeff, turned 19, 4 years in, 3 kids, we're now in questioning the past. Agency out, faces discretion, knocking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath always.
Alright, I just take off. I have one more card on the fire. But that's fine.
He was thought he could set him free.
Became his old identity. Now Doug's about another drunken rage.
Agency out, faces discretion, looking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always. Everybody's panicked about the kids. Someone with extra dexedrine and mathematics to promote success, or to impose more unjust duress. Agency out, faces discretion, walking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Without consent, it's really just depression, but parasites surviving while they feed their fear of dying. Yes, they feed upon the futures of the young.
I like this better than
Yeah, yeah,
it smokes smooth.
it does.
Still doesn't stop me from coughing something.
Oh yeah.
Very worst kind of thinking. Detectives in the parks. The very worst kind of thinking. Detectives in the parks. Once there was a girl named Jenny Sue, a teenage girl a lot like you. She lived in Florida, played some softball prematurely, had her last call. The day was clear and the sky was blue, so you don't need to fear what killed Jenny Sue, because she came to the plate and she swung the bat and everybody heard a great big crack. Thunder. Right, dark. When sight returned to their eyes, they could only see a pair of charcoal thighs. Vinny's mom was shocked, of course, and sad. In fact, her life seemed mostly bad. She had loved her kid and kept her safe, and then all at once the kid had met her fate. And Mom was outraged. Mom was mad. Mom sought help from her brother Brad.
The silver swan, one named eyes begin to shine.
Someone to blame. Very worst kind of thinking. The very worst kind of thinking.
Keep you from danger.
Detectives in the parks. The very worst kind of thinking. Detectives in the parks. The very worst kind of thinking. Detectives in the parks.
Bodies in the street. Oh yeah, black recruit. Not overburdened healthcare, sir. But you see, it's been underburdened, chief, because this COVID thing is so exaggerated. We have been lied to, fooled, misguided, directed to the wrong side. Your cherry picking art is not going to work. You don't know your stats, your data gathering methodologies are crap. Listen here, if you only test the sickest, what you think is gonna be the trick. Being scared, COVID-19, destroy everything for the impression you bring. Being scared, COVID-19, destroy everything for the impression you bring. Stupid, scared, we swallow the gum. Being scared, COVID-19, destroy everything for the impression you bring. Being scared, COVID-19, destroy everything for the impression you bring. Out of rock and hard, bring around those heavy chords. Show me how to beat so hard. Took a 19 play chord out of rock. You rock so hard, I don't know what I've got. Listening to that jazz country shot. When I do know people call to the gotta rock. After all your talking to the very rockin' it, gotta rock, I roll. Roll your pancakes on my trunk, oh rock your uncle up too much wine. Oh rock those pancakes for your lunch, and oh roll up in front of you in line. I'm the cow to rock, like a rocket block, separate the Lord to rock a lock. I know so few who do can rock, I know that you do not rock, so I just rock it every night. After all your talking to the very rockin' it, gotta rock, I roll all night. I rock all day, but you yourself like every day. Have your brunch, I'll let you rock, I rock and roll, blow your mind. I rock your mimosas like it's mine. I rock your pancakes on my job. I'm gonna pop for your lunch. God of rock, a rock and shock, a rock and flock of rock and blocks. I pray the Lord to rock a lot. Rock, God of rock. Just rock is rock, you never really talk to. After all the talk, the rockin' it. God of rock. Too much noise in the data stream. Loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. Frustrations mean mistakes are made until it seems everybody's throwing shade. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that from tomorrow yesterday is not the sort of thing that one can borrow. No one willing to do lend a day. Your uncertainty's implicit, just like an unexpected visit from a bunch of men all dressed in blue suits. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. Well, there's a herd of cattle and a flock of birds. A school of fishes, it's a spew of words. Campaign of battles, a collection of churns. Cause farmers milk chattel for cups for the birds. And a lip flap of tattlers telling on burn for disrupting the arrangement of a blossom of ferns. Confers a shameful burden that burn deserves. Or so say the tattlers telling on burn. Bats are colonial, bees are swarmy. A quiver's worth of cobras is making me horny. Got a cat named Capillo and a dog named Bird. Cassiopeia is the name of my bird. There's no powder for my cat. Bird has no pack. Got no grip of badgers, cause badgers attack. And the same goes for weasels, which come in a sack. But my Cassie's in a murder and they're all in black. Nobody's coming alone today. Nobody's alone. All of the creatures gather up their crews. Gather their crews. You lions, your pride, exaltation, a doves, a downfall, a slides, and one pair of gloves. There's a pot of whales, bristol grapes, spots of nails, swap away, sniff the jeeps, frown of fails, catamates, ton of jails, whole crash of rhinos, and a knot of toads.
So, sorry about all the delay there. I had texted my dad about a couple things. It was a rather heavy conversation, actually.
What?
Oh, it was just kind of a heavy conversation. He was talking about nothing eating me. It's like when he called me in there to deal with the plumber, which I did. I talked to the plumber. Okay, yeah, call me, blah, blah, blah. And he basically said, okay, I'm handing this over to you. I'm handing this whole thing over to you. And, here's a check for, dollars. When the whole thing's done, pay the guy. Who knows if it's going to cost me $8 or not, but and then he came out and had a conversation and said, basically, I'm going to start turning over shit over to you because I can't hear anybody. I'm slowing down. I'm going to just start handing these things over to you. Things, so that if I were to go, it occurs to me that if I were to suddenly be gone, then you wouldn't know where anything is. You don't know where I don't know what things are due to be paid for or not. It's a pretty heavy conversation. It's a pretty heavy conversation. In my ideal vision of things, my mom goes before my dad goes, that's for sure. But one doesn't get to choose those kind of things. I also found out something that's gonna probably make Rachel feel kind of bad because it's an instance of her NI having been proved wrong. Namely, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. Don't worry about it. Don't stress too much, Rachel. You're stressing. That face is the face of stress.
Yeah.
My dad came in with some concern talking about my cousin Julie having
Yeah.
some kind of melanoma, right?
Yeah.
And Rachel's like, that's not even a serious thing. It's just a blah, 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 blah. Well, it's gone stage 3 and it's in her lymph nodes now.
Oh my god.
So I also just found that out.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I don't feel any particular actual closeness to Julie. I talked to her on the phone maybe a year ago for the first time in quite a long time. So
I'm sorry that I
baby, listen, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm just saying I feel like that I feel sorry that you're unavoidably going to incur some you're gonna be like Effie, you're gonna be like, damn it, Rachel, why did I say that? I don't care. I hope you don't feel bad. That's all.
I never said that to your dad.
No, you did it to me. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's totally fine. I feel bad only because I know that you're not gonna like this. You know, you're gonna make you feel bad. But yeah, I don't care.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Totally.
I thought no news was good news in that case.
Let's see here. We're talking about the eating of dried pineapple, how it lacks acidity. Interesting. Grass eater. You want to read the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. Read them in order. It's a long story with very long arches. Your favorite characters will be introduced in book 3. And if I were to make an educated guess, probably a handful. 10 of those chunky pieces sound good. Did Xander Hall reply? No. Eric, is your father aware that you're going to be president of the United States? I've talked to him about it on a number of occasions. He typically responds with things like, well, you're going to need to meow then. He doesn't respond with, that's crazy, or you're never going to do that, or whatever. He responds with, well, you better get busy with meow, something like that. You've never been prescribed pineapple before, Running Fox? I don't think doctors generally prescribe pineapple. It's more of a food than a drug, although both are admittedly under the purview of the Food and Drug Administration. Hey, Horseman, what was that book you recommended to me about the generals? I want to get it. I want that book. I'm going to buy it, I think. I meant to buy it, but I was at the time like tight on money, so I said, just wait until like a week from now. Anyway, I've been meaning to ask you now for a while to remind me what the book was called. I had decided this morning to figure it out via Googling what I know about it, rather than waiting to ask you. But now that you're here and I see you, I might as well just ask you. And a pen. What's in a pen? A pen. What? Oh, an EpiPen. I see.
I didn't mean to my cousin had to go through like a lot during treatment and stuff. I didn't mean to I feel so bad.
Rachel, don't feel bad. Do you think that relating information of how events unfold that you process to your internal framework of how set narratives ought to be a good description of NI? Boy, that's a long sentence. Do I think that relating information of how events unfold to your internal framework of how things ought to unfold is a good description of NI? No, I don't. Savior Generals by Victor Davis Hanson. Okay. I am serial. Okay. I am completely serial when I say, and I mean serial, I'm going to buy this book. I just am. I just am going to buy it. I'm going to use my buying finger to buy it. I want to get an actual book copy of it, though, because I want to let my dad read it after I read it. Add by now, and
You get Prime with it?
I guess so. Let's see. That seems cheap enough. $20 for this book. Under $20, including tax and shipping. That seems like a good deal for a brand new copy of it. It's going to be around Monday. Sweet Sauce Chugaboo. That was very easy, Amazon. So easy to buy books on Amazon. No wonder there aren't any more bookstores. For example, there used to be a bookstore called Crown Books, and their commercials began like this. Books cost too much. Anybody remember the Crown Books commercials? Books cost too much. This is like this New York guy, I think. Crown Books commercial. Books cost too much. If the idea was a bit hokey, the effect was certainly not. The commercials for Crown Books, featuring then company President Robert Half, proclaiming that books cost too much, were instrumental in establishing the chain as a leader in the book retailing industry in the 1980s. Books cost too much. That's why I opened Crown Books. I want to see books cost too much. Don't they have it on YouTube? I've got to see it now. It's so important to me. My life will never be complete until I see books cost too much. There it is. Books cost too much commercial. Where is it? I don't see it. Where's Crown Books commercial? Come on. These aren't Crown Books commercials. What is this one? This has multiple commercials in it. Is that the thing? You got to find your commercial that you're looking for. Do they have Crown Books? There it is, towards the end. The third from the last. Look, the first comment on this from 6 years ago is Keith Ward saying, books cost too much. Let's see if I can find good old. There he is. There we go. There is this guy. That's the guy. This is the guy right here.
Books cost too much, so I opened Crown Books. Now you'll never have to pay full price again. We have over 10,000 books to choose from, including The Gentle Humor of a Prairie Home Companion in Lake Wobegon Days, only $10.77 at Crown. And join the hunt for Red October, Tom Clancy's paperback bestseller, for only $2.99.
Wow, that's a good deal.
You can't judge a book by its cover, price. So remember, if you paid full price,
you didn't buy it at Crown Books. If you paid full price, you didn't buy the Crown Books. Spirit Mayo, you are really just setting all caution aside and saying, damn the FE consequences, I am going to be a little bit obsessed about this. That's what you're doing, Mr. Man. I'm going to add to contacts. No, I didn't say that. No, no, no. No, no. Add to contacts. Create new contact. Plumber Ruben. Eric, why are your fingers so fat? Ruben. Because you got fat, fat fingers, super fat fingers. Oops, what am I doing? Not that. Next. Done. Save. Okay, boy, life's difficult. Life is hard. Don't eat black market pineapple. Hambone's right about that. I'm not mad at all. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that you are enthusiastic about the idea. I'm just teasing you because I guess I'm an asshole. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't be an asshole since you've been so nice. It's absolutely reasonable and fair of you to condemn me accordingly. If you'd like to, you can sit there literally and say, I condemn thee from the comfort of your own home, and I'll totally understand it. I have no choice but to respect that. What am I doing? Oh, right, I'm going to Twitter. That's the place I never go. That's why I can't remember what I'm doing. Twitter. Oh, tell me why would I go to Twitter to see if Guy Sanderhall has replied to me? Well, do you really like mayonnaise that much that you have it in your name? Do you? Are you cereal? Because as far as I can tell, mayonnaise is bad. You eat the vegan mayo. Well, that's not mayo then. I like non-vegan things, but I don't like mayonnaise. I prefer vegan mayonnaise over regular mayonnaise. If I had to have one of those two mayonnaises, I'll have the vegan one.
Me too.
The
Eggs.
possible exception is I actually sometimes like a slight smear of mayonnaise on a hamburger. For some reason, that's good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah, but not on a sandwich.
No.
Okay. I'll wrap this up. Goodbye, friends. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.